Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome for today's continuous discussion on the book Nectar of Devotion. I hope that all of you are having a book with you in your hand. And I think we have a new person here, Suvarna Kanti Radharani Devidasi. So welcome. Welcome for today's session. And also my humble obeisances to Vaishnavi Kamala. I think Saki Champakalata, I think. Mataji. Then Vaishnava Krupa Prabhu, Chana Lakshmi Mataji, Vivan Prabhu, Sadguna Mataji, and Nanda Devi Mataji. Welcome, Hare Krishna. So today, before we start, of course, we all are shocked with the news of a plane crash in Ahmedabad in Gujarat. So around 271 person perished on the flight, and not sure how many on the ground. But anyway, what we can reflect from this is as we always reflect back to our to what we have learned in Shastra, we understand that how what they call perishable is our body is, how fragile our body is, so fragile, you know. And when I heard the news, I reflected to Nanda Devi Mataji's sharing yesterday. She was saying, the how wonderful she feels when she chants 64 rounds a day. And when she chants 64 rounds, until that, even when she go to bed, the mantra still keep playing in the tongue, you know. So that was the reflection I was, because yesterday night when I saw the news, I immediately remembered Nanda Devi Mataji's testimony, saying that, you know, chanting and the things stick to the tongue. So in our life that we are all, what we are practicing is, how are we going to pass our final exam? Our final exam is when we are leaving the body, can we be fully Krishna conscious or not? Yes or no? That's all. All right. There's no partial, there's no little. So if you are fully Krishna conscious, you straight go back home, back to Godhead. And you have any partial consciousness, if you have a little bit desire here and there, or your mind is attached to such thing, attached to such a desire, you have to be born again. All right. But of course, but when we born again, we will born in a place which is going to be very suitable for practicing devotional service. So that was the topic that we have discussed yesterday. Even a person can, even the person born into a aboriginical family or any low-born family or whatever situation a person might take birth, but that environment will be somehow or other very suitable for his continuation of sadhana bhakti. Okay, because we are talking on sadhana bhakti now. So that is very important. So our consciousness is very important. Then, of course, because first we are studying sadhana, then slowly we're going to go into bhava, and ultimately we're going to go into prema bhakti. All right. So before we start, as our usual ritual in the morning, we offer obeisances to our spiritual master and entire Guru Varga. Without their mercy, it is not possible that we are here sitting here to discuss on this what they call on the topics of Krishna Katha. It is not possible. Because Srila Prabhupada have translated all the books in English, that he make it very conducive. He makes very conducive that anyone can read this, and he gave it in a very simplified English. So let's do our invocation. Invoking means what we have also learned yesterday. Invoking means creating the environment. All right, creating the environment, or in other words, like for instance, like before you do yagya, they do achaman, purification. So invoking auspiciousness before we start our any good things, we invoke auspiciousness. But of course, when we study the Shastra, we always invoke our auspiciousness by worshipping our spiritual master. So we also discussed yesterday that the worship of spiritual master has to be done at least 3 times a day. First thing early in the morning during Mangalarati. We also discussed why Mangalarati is very auspicious. Those like Suvarna Kanti, maybe if you have not sure what we are talking, I think I've shared the video with you if I'm not mistaken. So please go through the video, yesterday's video. So we discussed about what is Mangalarati is all about, number one. Then after Mangalarati, And during Mangalarti, we should worship our spiritual master. When we worship our spiritual master, we attract Krishna and even Srimati Radharani. Then during the afternoon, and of course that at night during the dawn. Okay, sorry, during the dusk. That means in between the evening towards night, in between the twilight zone. All right. So we have all discussed that yesterday in a detail. All right. So today we continue our discussion. So as I said, okay, maybe for Swarna Kanti, we will just update you when we chant the names of our spiritual master. Just think about the most beautiful flower that you can have in your imagination. You have seen some flowers. Imagine that you have the most beautiful and very fragrant flower in your hand, in your imagination. Offer that flower at the lotus feet, the petals at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And after that, you put a garland of flower on their neck, all right, in the imagination. So with that thing, let's start our program by invoking auspiciousness, by chanting and calling upon and showing our gratitude to our Guru Varga in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Namavum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Namavum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabana Videvi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jwala Premadya Sri Rupa Gnuga Bhaktira Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Pasidanta Dvanta Harine Namo Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padambu Jayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauraveer Bhava Bhumestum Nidasa Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarubhauma Sri Jagannathaye Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरतिस्वे नमः पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते जयतं सुरतौ पंगुर्मम मंद मतिर्गति मत् सर्वस्य पादंबोज राधा मदन मोहनौ दिव्यात् वृंदारण्य कल्प द्रुमदः श्रीमत् रत्नागर सिंहासनस्थौ श्रीमत् राधा श्रील गोविंद देवो पृष्ठलिभि सेव्य मनुस्मरामि श्रीमन् रस रसरंबि वंशिव ततसित कर्षिन् वेणुर्स्वनिर्गोपिर्गोपीनाथाय श्रीस्तुना ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव शरि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे राम राम हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती जय पताक स्वामी निति नामिनी नामाचार्य पदाय नित्य कृपा प्रदायिनी गौरकदता पदाय नगर ग्राम तारिणी हरे कृष्णा. All right, so we continue our discussion. Okay. So we are continuing our detailed studies on nectar of devotion. Okay, so yesterday we spoke about this. We spoke about this chapter. What they call first wave, first ocean, second wave, text 4. Yeah, text 4. So we spoke about this, what they call, from Srimad Bhagavatam. So Narada Muni mentioned sadhana bhakti in Srimad Bhagavatam. One has to fix his mind on Krishna by any means. All right. So what we understand here is one has to fix his mind on Krishna by any means. By any means. And this is called Krishna consciousness. And we also studied what is Krishna consciousness means. Krishna consciousness means pure devotional service. Okay. And now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu given us an authorized program for this purpose, centered around the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. So chanting is so much power that it immediately attaches one to Krishna. Okay. So in the beginning of sadhana bhakti, somehow or other, one has to fix his mind on Krishna, no matter what. All right. The great saint Ambarish Maharaj, although a responsible king, fixed his mind on Krishna. And similarly, anyone who tries to fix his mind on this way will be very rapidly make progress in successfully reviving what is original Krishna consciousness. All right. So we studied yesterday that all the living entities, they have this kind of Krishna consciousness by default in them. Okay. So now let's look at the second one. Vaidi Raganuga Cheti Sadvidva Sadhana Bidda. So in first verse, first wave, first ocean, second wave, text 5. Okay, now we are on a second wave ready here. Now this sadhana bhakti. Okay, now Prabhupada is explaining. Now this sadhana bhakti or practice of devotional service, all right, in sadhana, in Tamil also called sadhana, all right, may be also divided into two parts. So the sadhana bhakti is divided into two parts. Number one, the first part is called service according to regulative principle. All right. What is the service they call? They call Vaidi sadhana bhakti. Vaidi. That means you are practicing your what they call your devotional service by following the regulative principle, like the 4 regulative principle. So one has to follow these different regulative principle by the order of the spiritual master. So one has to follow this regulative principle by order of the spiritual master. Okay. So first, when we all started, because we all came from a very, not we all, I came from a very sinful background. So when a person coming out from the sinful background, they have to have some restriction, you know. They have like a restriction means like probation. So you must have restriction. So that means the restriction means they have to follow the principle. And the principles for what? To regulate your life back on order. Like for instance, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, you know, and no meat eating. So this is the regulative principle. So first thing, so it's called Vaidi Sadhana. So Vaidi Sadhana means the first step is called Vaidi Sadhana, and it means that following the regulative principle. All right. And this principle has to be followed by the order of the spiritual master or on the strength of the authoritative scripture. All right. So either you get it from the spiritual master or you get it from the authorized scripture, not any scripture. So now we may say, okay, what is that authorized scripture we are talking about? All right. So first of all, we must know, where do we stand? When we are standing under this Gaudiya Vaishnavism, all right, we understand. When we spoke about it, I think a few times before. I hope you remember. And for those, I just can say it again. When we worship all varieties of Vishnu, when we are devotees of Lord Vishnu, we are known as Vaishnava. Okay? When we all worship Vishnu, any form of Vishnu, we are known as Vaishnava. Number two, if you only worship Krishna, you are known as Karsha. Okay? Number one is, if you are a devotee of Lord Narayana, any form of Narayana, that is including Krishna, including all the forms, we are known as Vaishnava. Okay? Number two, if you only worship Krishna, you are known as Karsha. Okay, say for instance, if you only worship Lord Shiva, you're known as Shaivite. If you only worship Lord Ganapati, you're known as Ganapatya. And if you only worship Mother Durga, you'll be known as Shakta. So similarly, if you only worship Lord Krishna, you're known as Karsha. All right. But above all this, Vaishnavism, Karshism, we are known as Gaudiya. So what is Gaudiya means? Gaudiya means we worship Srimati Radharani. That is why in Gaudiya, we have all the Guru Varga in Gaudiya Parampara, all are basically Manjaris and Sakis. The friends, Sakas, Sakis, and Manjaris. So we have all the Manjaris came as Rupa Manjari, as Rupa Goswami, Kamala Manjari as Bhakti Vinod Thakur, you know. So like that, we are under the Manjari Parampara. Our Guru Varga is Manjari Parampara. So that's why we are known as Gaudiya. Gaudiya means we are following the footstep of Srimati Radharani. We are begging Srimati Radharani to become her maid servant. The servant of the servant of the servant of her maid servant. We are begging her. So when we are under Gaudiya Vaishnava, and our goal in Gaudiya Vaishnava is to achieve the highest success, that is to become the personal associate of Srimati Radharani in serving Lord Krishna. So that means our goal is to go there. Our goal is not Vaikuntha Loka. Our goal is not Ayodhya Dham. Our goal is not even Dwaraka, not even Puri Jagannath. Our goal is to go to Goloka Vrindavan and or Navadvip. This is a place that is available in spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan. When you look at the universal chart, the first layer, it is Jagannath Puri. The second layer is Dwaraka. Then like that, it's like a lotus petal. And in between is what they call, one place is called Dwaraka, where Krishna is there with his 16,000 wives. He's there with Pandavas. The another part is, you see that in Mathura, where you see Krishna with his mother Yashoda. Okay, he'll be having a childhood pastime because the pastime is all eternal. Then you go further in, you come to Vrindavan, right? You Mathura. Then you come to Vrindavan. Vrindavan, you see that Krishna will be having this with his pastime. All right, pastime with the gopis and all these kind of things. Then of course you go in further, you see what they call what is the mountain name? Govardhan. Then after that you go to Radha Kund, Sham Kund, and all these kind of things are all very, very what they call confidential plot. So our goal is to go there, right? So therefore we must understand. So of course we can say there are so many editions. There's so many editions of books under Vaishnavism. Yes, fair enough. The three Vaishnavas have their copy of their thing, and what they call, and Rudra Sampradaya, they have their own, the certain part of the Vedas, of course, which all dovetail to Krishna, Vishnu, Narayana. And of course, then another one is what they call Kumara Sampradaya have that. But we must understand where are we standing. We are Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Gaudiya Sampradaya, we only need to study the book which is allocated only for Gaudiya Sampradaya. All right. One may argue, example, when you look at Sri Vaishnava, what they say, you break the grains, you can eat. All right. It's a quite, I'm not sure whether they say or not, but this is a very common, I think, yeah, I remember this thing. Anyway, I don't want to speculate, but what I've heard and I understood. See, like for instance, we say on Ekadasi day, don't take grains, no matter what. Don't take grains. But what they say, you take the grain and break it. So the sin is broken. So it's no more grain. So on that day, you make idli, dosa and start to eat. All right. Then we say, for instance, we say, we approach Krishna in prema. We see Krishna in love. That's why we chant and dance. But for them, they all chant the Krishna mantra in what they call in a Bhaya Bhakti, in awe and reverence. Kaushalya Supraja Rama Purva Sangya Pravartate. They all be, oh, please Perumal, please wake up, and all these kind of things. Right? So like that. But okay, let me show you something. Vivan. Vivan Manikam. All right. Okay. Because I shared this to Vivan. Okay. Okay. So I was reading Bhagavatam. This Bhagavatam is around chapter 6 of Canto 1. All right. Yeah, around chapter 6, yes. In one place, in the final purport, what Prabhupada explained here, he says, that one expert mantras with meter. All right, although it's already okay, Srila Sutta Goswami footsteps, okay, it's not least important because Srila Sutta Goswami is following the footsteps, and therefore he is this is mantra which is meter pronunciation, where it depends on more practice from actual realization. So he says realization is more important than parrot-like chanting. So here Prabhupada is saying that sometimes when we must follow certain meter when you chant the Sanskrit. That's why we see some devotees like to go and learn some Sanskrit because they want to chant the meter correctly. But here Prabhupada is explaining his he says no, that is not important. By chanting the mantra properly, by following certain meters, it is not important. The most important thing is to understand what the mantra is explaining. All right, so chanting like a parrot, like parrot, it is not important. So we should understand. So when we are in Gaudiya Vaishnava, so what are the books that we should follow? What are the rules and regulations that we should practice? Even when you look at Ekadasi, like some devotees ask me, when is Ekadasi? The calendar says today, but why we are following tomorrow? Right? Why we are following the next day? Because that is what? Because we are following Mahadwadasi sometimes. Sometimes we follow the Smarta Ekadasi. Smarta Ekadasi we don't follow. That is followed by the normal devotee or the other Sampradaya or normal people. But we are following Mahadwadasi sometimes. All right, I don't want to go into that detail. It's got a very long explanation there. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, so we should practice the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti or regulative principle that we have to follow in order, if it's by the order of spiritual master, number one, or number two is the strength of authoritative scripture. So what is the authority scripture that we are giving? So our authorized scriptures are what? So we should remember our authorized scripture, number one is Bhagavad Gita. Number two is Srimad Bhagavatam. Number three is Chaitanya Charitamrita. That's all. All right. So we do not need to go further to do research other than these three main scripture. Then other than that, then we see lot of what they call commentary like by the acharyas, like Nectar of Devotion, Upadesha Mrita. Or Upadesha Mrita means nectar of instruction. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, nectar of devotion. All right, and like that we have many books like Bhajana Rahasya. Then we have Madhurya Kadambini. Like that we have so many books by our acharya. So that means we study the three main books: Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then after that we study all the commentary by the acharyas. All right. So we must always remember that. Oh, I heard that I want to Sri Bhashya by Sri Vaishnava. Okay, there's a one Bhashya. Oh, I want to learn that. It's not actually required. Because we should understand the goal of studies, not to become a pandit, but the goals of studies so that you become a very learned person where you appreciate and you start to practice. The more and more that you are learned, the more and more you will be appreciating and you'll be very much determined in your sadhana, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. You understand? So either by the order of spiritual master or the strength of authoritative scripture. And there can be no question of refusal. You cannot say no. You cannot say this. So this is called Vaidhi or regulated. Please underline this statement. So now you understand Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So now we call Sadhana Bhakti. The Sadhana Bhakti is divided into two. The first one is called Vaidhi Sadhana. I think there's one girl is doing, I think, what's the name? Swarna Kanti. I think you're doing Bhakti Sastri, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right. So this is something very important for you to remember. So the way that we are studying here, that you'll remember for life. All right. So first we are talking about Sadhana bhakti means, number one, sadhana bhakti means you are engaging your senses, and your mind and intelligence. That means, in other words, you are utilizing your gross and subtle body in understanding sadhana bhakti. And that sadhana bhakti is divided into two. The first is called Vaidhi sadhana. You are following some kind of restriction or regulation. So the Vaidhi sadhana means, that means I must do this, do that. So where you get that Vaidhi sadhana, where you get that restriction or regulation, okay, like in Malay we call pantang. Where you get all this pantang, where you get all these things, Vaidhi, number one, either from the spiritual master, or number two, from the strength of the authoritative scripture. That means the scripture that we are following. All right, these two things, it is important, and it's called Vaidhi. And the meaning of Vaidhi means regulated. Please underline this statement, all devotees. One has to do without argument. So you don't argue. You don't come and argue, right? Oh, is it true or not? Another part of sadhana bhakti. Now let's look about another part. That means part two of sadhana bhakti. It is called raga nuga. All right, this is very important, my dear Prabhus and mothers. All right, because I know that once we are going through this book, definitely you're not going to come back and refer to this again. So that's why we are studying it very much detail. So please remember this. First is Vaidhi. Vaidhi means rules and regulation. Number two is Raga Nuga. So now what is Raga Nuga means? So Raga Nuga refers to the point which, by following the regulative principle, that means first you're following the regulative principle, one becomes a little more attached to Krishna. So that means once you start to follow the rules and regulation, waking up early in the morning and doing a minimum 16 rounds, right? So all this, you're becoming a little more attached to Krishna. And that attachment, so after that, what happened? You execute devotional service out of natural love. So that means first of all, we need to tell. We need to tell now you should do this, do that. But once you come to the level of Raga Nuga, so that means you are becoming, you start to serve Krishna in a very natural way. You don't think, oh, I'm going to finish my 16 rounds. Maybe that is when you first do sadhana. Then after that, you fix your round 16. That is Vaidhi. Then after that, Vaidhi, that means you regulation. Every day I must run 16 rounds. That's my standard because my guru have told me that. All right. Then after that, you come to the level of Raga Nuga. First, when you chant 16, oh my God, when the time is going to finish? Oh, I need to sleep now. I cannot go to bed without finishing my 16 rounds. No matter what. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Yo, Maniachari, Krishna, 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 Ram Ram, Ram, Hare. You start to sound like a red Indian. The red Indian makes sound, wah, wah, the red Indian, right? I finished 16 round. போட்டு போயிடலாம் அப்பாடா. I'm done. Okay. Okay, time to go to bed. Right? You go to sleep. Because we said that you should not finish without finishing your round, don't go to bed. You don't finish your round, don't eat, don't sleep. All right? So like that, you start to sound like a red Indian. Then after that, you start to come to the one level. Once you start to become very good in Vaidhi, then you come to the next level, you come to the level of Raganuga. When you come to Raganuga, your taste increases in your heart. So when your taste increases in your heart, what do? 16, oh my God, it is so tasty. What is 16? I want to do more. You end up doing 32. Oh, it is even getting more and more tastier. I want to do 48. Oh no, cannot tahan. I want to do 64. Oh, no, I want to do maybe 75. I want to do 100. I want to do 200. Ultimately, our goal is to make 192 rounds, 300,000 names. Okay, 192 rounds. Of course, it can be very impossible, but we don't know if Krishna desires this thing. But now we understand. 192 as a sadhana bhakta, it looks like it's impossible. Right? Then after that, you take a little regulation. You come to Vaidhi. Vaidhi Bhakti. I say, okay lah, but I cannot lah. Even, I think maximum I can go is 32 rounds lah. Right? But you will never believe when you go to Raganuga. Then of course, we're going to go to Bhava and Prema. That is all different topic already. So we should understand. So when you start to feel that you want to increase your round, that means you are becoming, your sadhana, your Vaidhi sadhana is becoming more and more intense and more powerful. Right? So like that. So now let's look at Raganuga. So you become little more attached. You execute devotional service out of natural love. All right. For example, a person Example, what? A person engaged in devotional service may be ordered to rise early in the morning and to offer arati. All right. So that means for a person engaged in devotion may be ordered. That means the Guru must, spiritual master says, now you must wake up every morning for arati. All right. Which is the form of the deity worship. You have to do Mangala Arati. So in the beginning, by the order of the spiritual master, one rises early in the morning and offer arati. But then what happened? He develops the real attachment. That's when you start to have the real attachment. You have to wake up at 4 o'clock. We can argue the Mangala Arati starts 1.5 hours before the sunrise, right? So sun rises at 7:30. So Mangala Arati time starts at 6 o'clock, right? But then 5:30 to 6 is around that time is Mangala Arati, okay? But of course, we also can say, but what spiritual Prabhupada have said, wake up 4:30 in the morning. So we make it as a standard. All right, first is Brahma Muhurta. But before the Brahma Muhurta is Deva Muhurta. All right, Deva Muhurta. That means the time is around from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. is called the 3 hours is called Deva Muhurta. Anyway, so like that. So that means anyway. So what happened? He develops the real attachment. He becomes more and more attached. Right? So when he gets this attachment, means what? This attachment you have to acquire. That means it's not that you practice. You love it and you get it. So what happened? He automatically tries to decorate the deity and prepare different kinds of dresses and thinks different plans to execute devotional service nicely. All right, this is for those who are worshipping the deities. Before the night, they'll be meditating. Now today, how can I decorate my deities? But of course, most of us don't have a deity, and this thing. So what we do, we perform. First thing, we wake up early in the morning. All right, we just decorate Tulsi Maharani. We offer Tulsi prayer. What they call Namo Nama Tulasi Krishna Prayasi. We offer the praise to her. And we also offer prayers to our spiritual master Sangsara Dava, Nalalida Loka, and we meditate the amount of sacrifice the spiritual master have taken to liberate us. After you finish this both, you sit and chant your Maha Mantra looking at Tulasi Devi. Or you can put a small table there, you put a Tulsi Devi, and you can put a spiritual master's photo. Like yesterday, in one of the lecture, my spiritual master is saying, if you're going to look at Prabhupada, right? When you look at Prabhupada, when you look at Tulsi, when you chant your Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you are becoming very attentive. So first thing in the morning, you just put this both and you start to chant the Hare Krishna Mantra. All right? You see. So now the question is it deity worship is important? It is important. At the same time, it is not so important, because the chanting of the holy name is the only recommended things. It is recommended for Kali Yuga. All right, in Kali Yuga, there's only recommended. And of course, if you want to worship the spiritual, if you want to worship deities, you have to get permission from the spiritual master. And of course, trust me, deity worship is not simple. It is not hard. It's just like, so wherever you go, you have to think about them. So anyway, I don't go into that detail. All right. So anyway, so it's mentioned here, deity worship. Although it is within the category of practice, even Raga Nuga still comes under the practice category of practice. This offering of loving service is spontaneous. So now the loving service becomes spontaneous, become very natural. That means you go to the shop, you'll be thinking, okay, what should I buy for my deities? Oh, look at the mango. I think my Jagannath loves it because I've got Jagannath. Oh, Jagannath loves this mango, definitely. So when I see something beautiful, oh, look at that. This flower, my Jagannath loves it, will like it. So like that. So it become more and more spontaneous. So the practice of devotional service, sadhana, bhakti can be divided into two. That is called regulative and spontaneous. So regulated means Vaidhi sadhana. Spontaneous means raga nuga. Please write down in a pencil or what down there. Or if you can remember, just underline the thing or underline the statement. So that means the sadhana bhakti is divided into two, Vaidhi sadhana and Raga Nuga sadhana. Vaidhi means rules and regulation. Raga Nuga means spontaneous. Right? Okay. Now let's look at the third, another one is Tatra Vaidhi. Now we talk about Vaidhi Bhakti. What is Vaidhi? Further detail. All right? Yatra Iragana Yatra raganavaptatvat pravritir upajayate Shashanenaiva shastrasya sa vaidi bhaktir uchyate. First ocean, second wave, text 6. Rupa Goswami defined the first part of devotional service practice or Vaidi Bhakti. So now Sadhana Bhakti got two. Okay, Sadhana Bhakti got two. All right, it is just okay. First is Sadhana Bhakti. Then Sadhana Bhakti is divided into two. All right, this is first thing is called Vaidi Bhakti, V, and the second is called as Raganuga Bhakti, R. All right, Raganuga. As follows. So when there's no attachment, okay. Okay. Okay, now let's do this. All right. Okay. So, Rupa, first part of devotional practice or Vaidi Bhakti as follows. When there is no attachment, oh, sorry. When there is no attachment or no spontaneous loving service to the Lord. So that means he says, when the Rupa Goswami is mentioning this, so when there's no attachment and or no spontaneous loving service to the Lord. Okay. But one is simply engaged in service of the Lord simply out of obedience by the order of the spiritual master in pursuance of scripture. Such obligatory service is called Vaidi Bhakti. Okay. Now, Rupa Goswami is explaining what is Vaidi Bhakti. Further explanation. Number one is, first is, there is no attachment. I don't have attachment. Or I don't have spontaneous loving service. I cannot spontaneously loving service. I cannot do that. There's no spontaneous. So what happened? I engage in service of the Lord. I engage in devotional service out of obedience because my spiritual master have said so. All right. Or by the pursuance of the scripture or as recommended by the Shastra. So this kind of obligation service, that means you're serving out of duty, and it's also called as Vaidi Bhakti. All right. Let's look at the initiation process. First thing is we are chanting 16 rounds. We are following the 4 regulative principle. All right. We chant. So when we chant 16 rounds, minimum follow the 4 regulative principle and everything. First, you try yourself. Can you do it? Yes, some or other I can do it. Okay. Now the spiritual master will initiate you into the program. All right. Will initiate you. That means example like this initiation is just like an entrance exam. Right? First, you have to study your due diligence. Example, you want to go into university. When you want to go into university, you have to do entrance exam. In that entrance exam, the university will say that we're going to cover all these topics. So you sit at home and do your homework. So when you do your homework properly, it is called practicing devotional service by Vaidi Sadhana by chanting and following the 4 regulative principles and associating with devotees. That is called studying, homework, self-study, revision. Then after that, you come and sit in the entrance exam. So sitting in the entrance exam, it is called initiation. So initiating you into the program. All right. Then from there, you pass, then you go in. So the first step of accepting initiation is to it is just like I understood that you are already got a visa of going back home, back to Godhead. You have already got a guru. Then when you start to practice your Vaidhi sadhana, then after that you start to practice Vaidhi sadhana. At that time, you still might have no taste. Oh, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that because my spiritual master says so. There's nothing from the heart. Because he says so, I'm just blindly following him. Right? Oh, I cannot do this, I cannot do so, I'm just following. I need to read this, I need to go to the temple, I need to do seva, I need to do cooking. Just out of obligation because the instruction. You got it? So that is also called as Vaidhi sadhana, Vaidhi bhakti. Are you all following me on this? Okay. If you follow, please put a thumbs up. Great. All right. So then once we become perfected in Vaidhi sadhana, then we become everything becomes spontaneous, everything becomes steady. Then we're gonna accept, we're gonna apply for we go and study spiritual master, and you become a perfected devotee. That means everything becomes spontaneous. Then you accept the second diksha. The second diksha is called the Brahmanical diksha, second initiation. So once you accept a second initiation, you become perfect. Okay, anyway, we will study that as we go on. All right, now let's look at OSHA's, what they call, okay, from 2.1.5. Yata dvitiye tasmat bharat sarvatma bhagavan ishvaro harihi srotavya kirtitavyascha smartavyascha chechata bayam. Okay, first ocean, second wave, text 7. So here Rupa Goswami is quoting Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, he's quoting Srimad Bhagavatam. All right, 2.1.5. All right, so first chapter, sorry, just give me a second. Okay. So the principle of Vaidhi is also described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Second canto, first chapter, verse 5, where Sukadev Goswami instruct the dying Maharaj Parikshit as to the cause of action. Right? So what is his cause of action? What are you going to do? So Maharaj Parikshit met Sukadev Goswami just a week before his death. Okay? And king was perplexed. That means he's confused. As what should be done before he was to pass on. That means he's not sure what has to be done before he pass on. So many other sages also arrived there, but no one could give him the proper direction. You know, okay, like for instance, a person going to get a death sentence in a week, right? That means say like next Friday, a person going to be hanged to death. So got 7 days from now, what to do? So he's asking what to do. They give me these, give me or everyone giving opinion, but he was not happy. So then Sukadev Goswami, however, gave his direction to him to follow. So Sukadev Goswami said, my dear king, if you want to be fearless, this is what we all wanted. Please underline the statement. If you want to be fearless in meeting your death next week, okay? All right. So that means actually everyone is afraid of the point of death. Everyone will be afraid. You know, when the death arrives, everyone usually will be very afraid. But here, Sukadev Goswami is saying, if you want to be fearless, if you want to be fearless in meeting your death next week, then he says, you must immediately begin the process of hearing and chanting and remembering God. Sravanam, Kirtanam, this thing. So what he says, if you must immediately begin the process of hearing and chanting and remembering, Smaranam. Okay. So that means you must do the hearing, chanting, and remembering. Isn't that simple? How many of you have fear of death? If you think you have, this is the process recommended by Sukadev Goswami. Right? Hearing. When you hear about Harikatha, then you chant on Harikatha. First, you hear about their pastime. Then you chant the mantra. So when you chant, what do you need to do? You remember when you chant, you remember the pastime. Like yesterday we discussed, the offering of food. When you're going to chant somewhere around 12 to 3 noon, all right, what you should do? You should think the way how Krishna eats and having fun with his friend. Okay. So one must immediately, what Rupa Goswami say, there's the word that we should consider here. All right. What did he say? He should immediately. You can't take your time. All right. So you should immediately start the, okay, immediately begin the process of hearing and chanting. Okay. Immediately. All right. Now, okay. So you must immediately begin the process of hearing and chanting and remembering God. If one can chant and hear Hare Krishna and always remember Lord Krishna, then he's sure to become fearless at death, which may come any moment. All right, this is something that what happened yesterday. All right. when suddenly when all the people from London returning to London, all the rich and famous, all those who migrated, there is a huge Gujarat communities are there. They said after the Gujarat earthquake, this is the second incident that they see a big, huge Gujarati perished in a single moment of time. All right. So they say it's a big loss to the Gujarati community and everything. So the death can come anytime, but to be fearless. That's why when the thing I heard, I remembered Nanda Devi Mataji. Okay. Because the more you're going to chant the mantra, because the tongue will always love addiction. When the tongue, today you eat one particular ice cream, okay, your tongue, you enjoy it. The next day, when you pass through, the tongue will send the information to the mind and intelligence and says, go and get ice cream now. Then round 2, you take again. Then after that, you go, no, that is again, I'm not satisfied, I want some more. After you do 3 times, it becomes habit. Then after they become your second nature, every day when you pass by that place, you will stop and to buy that ice cream. Okay. So like that. So when you go on chanting your mantra, 15, 16, okay, 16, 32, 48, 64. When you go on chanting the mantra, after you stop, the tongue will never stop. The mind, who thinks in vibration, will never stop. Will be keep playing. Your tongue will be going left and right. After you're stopping. And you tend not to talk a lot to people. Yes or not, Nanda Devi Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
When
True.
you do 64 rounds, you don't feel like talking to anyone, right?
Yes. Yes.
And no time
Very
for gossip,
less.
no time for
Exactly.
that means the thing that gives satisfaction to your tongue, that is
Mm.
called prajalpa. That means talking nonsense. And then we study nectar of
Yes.
instruction, prajalpa. So the prajalpa is very hard to give up.
Mhm.
Talk about people, gossiping about people, finding fault, or arguing. You remember we studied that, right? That when the two men comes, they argue like it's just like a dog barking at each other. you know so we are so much addicted to argue, debate, all these kind of things. But when you chant your 64 rounds, you have no time for all these things.
Correct.
When people come and talk to you, yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
When
Yeah,
people
my daughter used to complain.
what is that?
Yeah. My daughter used to complain. I'm talking to you, okay? Listen to me.
What is the mauna vridam suddenly?
Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes when someone want to send you a message, the person going to call you, you're going to got some long-winded discussion to talk to you. So sometimes we just send them a message. Please, I'm not free. Can you just message your intention? What do you want to tell me? Just message. Because I don't want to talk. So you come to that level. So once you become so much absorbed, this is the thing. So that's why Prabhupada says is what we are doing now. And of course, Nanda Devi Mataji is a testimony to that. So first you have to start to hear, chant, and remember God. Okay, when you do always like that, it's sure to become fearless at death, and which we can come at any moment of time. All right. Now, so in the statement of Sukadev Goswami, it is said that Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. Therefore, Sukadev Goswami recommends that one should always hear about Krishna. Always hear about Krishna. He does not recommend that one hear and chant about demigods. Okay. In Mayavadi or impersonalists say that one may chant any name, either Krishna or any other demigod, and the result will be the same. That is the teachings of Mayavadi. What Mayavadi says, you call Krishna, you call whichever devata that you like or you are very inspired, you simply call everybody, everything is one, everything is equal. All right. But actually, this is not the fact. According to the authorized version of Srimad Bhagavatam, one has to hear and chant about Lord Vishnu or Krishna only. All right. That is the only thing that, because I don't have the book, actually, I marked the page. So that you should only chant the names of Vishnu and Krishna only. So, Sukadev Goswami has recommended Parikshit Maharaj that in order to be fearless at the time of death, one has to hear, chant, and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, by all means, no matter what. That's why I was telling Mataji, when you cannot chant because your fingers are injured, you can't chant with your beads, you use your clicker. No matter what, just get it done. 6,900 names. Just get it done. So by click or by hook or crook. That's why what Prabhupada says. So by all means. He also mentioned that the Supreme Lord is Sarvatma. He also mentioned the Supreme Personality as Sarvatma. Sarvatma means what? Sarvatma means the super soul of everyone. Sarva Atma. Sarva means everyone. Atma means super soul. Krishna is also mentioned as Ishvara. What is Ishvara means? The controller. What type of controller? The supreme controller, who is situated in everyone's heart. So he's sitting in the heart and he's controlling you. Therefore, if some way or other we become attached to Krishna, what happened? He will make us free from all danger. All right, he will make us free from all danger. And what is the danger we are talking about here? Is it the danger of meeting an accident? Danger of falling sick or getting this chronic disease? No, that is not a danger at all. The most horrible danger that we are so afraid of is to fall from a human platform back into animal kingdom, to born as a virus, to born as a dog or a hawk. You know, how much of anxiety that day, I was sharing, right? How much of anxiety the animal goes through in the wild. Look left, look right, drink. Look left, right, drink. Because they're afraid anytime there's a predator can come and attack. All right? So so once we fall there, we are gone case. So that means he will make us free from the danger. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, it is said that anyone, so anyone means what? Are they Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya? No, anyone. Either Indian, Chinese, Malay, anyone who becomes a devotee of the Lord is never vanquished, is never destroyed. Behold, Partha, my devotee never perishes. Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita. He will never vanquish. So others, however, are always vanquished. Others are always vanquished. Okay? Others are usually get vanquished, thrown away, or destroyed. But the devotee never vanquished. So now, Prabhupada is explaining what is vanquished means. Vanquished means that after getting the human form of life, a person does not come out of that entanglement of birth and death. All right? So a person does not come out from the entanglement of birth and death and thus misses his golden opportunity. All right? So that means when a person, after getting this opportunity, but it never come out. Okay? So vanquish means that after getting this human form of life, a person who does not come out of the entanglement of birth and death, and he misses his golden opportunity. Such a person does not know where he is being thrown by the law of nature. So that means the person who is not a devotee doesn't know where he's going to be thrown, where you're going to take birth. We have to be very careful, right? So what happened? Abominable birth. Imagine a person born as a worm in the stool. Sometimes you see the stool, there's a worm there, or the hawk that enjoys the stool. Now we feel, yeah, how can that be? But imagine you go into that form. Imagine you born as a cow in a Muslim country and get slaughtered mercilessly. So all this very dangerous. We don't know where we're going to be thrown by the law of nature. Suppose one does not develop Krishna consciousness in this human form of life now, what will happen to him? He will be thrown into the cycle of birth and death, that involving 8.4 million species of life. And his spiritual identity will remain lost. All right? We will lose our spiritual identity. One does not know whether he's going to be a plant, or a beast, or a bird, or something like that, because there are so many species of life. So the recommendation of Rupa Goswami, so Rupa Goswami is recommending what? He said, for reviving our original Krishna consciousness. Reviving means what? Something that's sleeping, now you're going to awaken it. The original Krishna consciousness, is that somehow or other we should apply our mind to Krishna very seriously. Spiritual life is not a joke. You have to apply your mind seriously, and thus also becomes fearless of death. So after death, we do not know our destination because we are completely under the control of the laws of nature. Then he says only Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the controller of the law of nature. Okay, do you know what it means? So that means after death, we don't know where we are going because we are under the control of the law of nature. And the law of nature is controlled only by Krishna as Ishvara. All right? So only Krishna, the controller of the law of nature. Therefore, if we take shelter to Krishna seriously, if we take Krishna conscious seriously, there will be no fear of being thrown back into the cycle of so many species of life. Right? There will be no fear. We have no fear that we will be thrown into any kind of abominable species. A sincere devotee will surely transfer to abode of Krishna, as is affirmed in Bhagavad Gita. And who go there? A sincere devotee. A sincere devotee means the devotee who are devoid of all anarthas. Anarthas means what? All kind of understanding, all kind of what you call our all these kind of what they call unwanted desires, unwanted things. It's called anarthas. Okay. Any questions so far?
Prabhu,
Okay.
can you explain a bit about Anartha, Prabhu?
Anarthas means your habits, your what they call your false ego, identification with the body. You know, I am this, I am that, I'm a Malaysian, I'm an Indian. Fault finding, fighting, quarreling. How dare you to tell me that? You know, all these kind of, this called anarthas. If you know anarthas means you have to be as humble as a grass, as tolerant as a tree. But when we still can get anger, when someone come and say, you know, who are you to tell me that? You know, or sometimes we say, you know, are you trying to teach me that? Ahankar, ego, false ego. Lust, anger, pride. When you have all these kind, it's called anarthas. Okay, Mataji?
Okay, thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
We should not have any anartha. That's why we say first we do sadhu sangha. First we do sadhu sangha, then we do bhajana kriya. Then after that we do anartha nivritti. Anartha nivritti means all your anarthas, unwanted things is still gone. So now you do check and balance. Do your journal now. Check yourself. Do I still have these anarthas? So if you still have these anarthas, we should understand we are still at step 1. We may think, oh, I've been in this society for 20 years, 30 years, 15, 50, so many years. But still I have that anartha means I have not come out of the step 1 yet. So it is something that we should check and balance. So in order to do that, we should increase our japa. We have to pray to Krishna, pray to Prabhupada. And of course, important, study this nectar of devotion. That's why we are, our goal. Even I have very big anarthas in my life. I have got a lot of anarthas. You know, I'm trying my best to cover, but sometimes some certain things trigger. You know, certain things trigger. When the thing I'm triggered, I cannot tahan, you know, then I say, oh my God, I got anarthas. That's why journal is very important. Every day write. What have you done? You got angry, you got frustrated. What are the things that happen in your life? Write it down. So, so when you write it down, you know, you consciously try to adjust your life. Oh, today this thing happened. That thing happened. Right? So we have to get rid of it. But of course, the biggest realization came ever since Nanda Mataji's explanation yesterday, which I never thought about it. Of course, I thought about it, but she expressed it out. When you go to bed, you chant and everything, you know. So then I will start to meditate, you know. You don't feel like talking to people. You don't feel like you just fully absorb. You don't want to get involved in this nonsense talk and all these kind of things, you know. So like that. Right. So now it's 10:30. Shall we just take a short break? Then we go to the next one. Because next one also is going to be very important topic, right? Okay. So we take a short break, 2 minutes. Hare Krishna. So get up, stretch yourself. All right. We are going to go into more details. Hare Krishna. Okay. I got a message. A devotee don't want me to mention the name. Say, well, it's very hard to give up anartha. Even though how much I try, looks like my anartha cannot be given up. That means I have all kind of okay. Anyway, so what the person is saying, okay, is I find it very hard to give up anarthas. It looks like even though how much I try to become humble, sometimes the anarthas comes in. Sometimes the anger arises. Suddenly frustration arises. Sometimes like you become blast and everything. But let me tell you, that is the goal of Nectar of Devotion. The reason that we are studying Nectar of Devotion, because now we are going to come the step by step. So I believe by the time we complete Nectar of Devotion, whatever anarthas by the mercy of Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and our Guru Varga in our Parampara, and by the mercy of Srila Rupa Goswami, and the ultimately mercy of Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, we could be able to overcome the anarthas. All right. So first we must identify, oh, I have this anartha. First we must remember, I have this problem. Identify it. Don't be in denial. Oh, I don't have this. I'm perfect. Don't be in denial. First, we have to accept our weakness. Yes, I have this weakness. Number one. All right, now number two. Number two, how to do it? Write it down, your weakness. Example, if you're a short-tempered person, all right, short temper. Oh, today I start to show my tantrum. Suddenly I become angry with the devotee. Suddenly I shout at this devotee. Suddenly I become angry with this person. I agree. So you write down. Then after that, try to find out what triggered that anger. All right. Usually all the problem starts from prajalpa. Prajalpa means what? Talking nonsense or reading nonsense. So what I want to advise you, this devotee who doesn't want me to mention the name, I want to advise you one thing. We have studied in Nectar of Instruction. What is prajalpa? Prajalpa means talking nonsense and reading nonsense. If you are really sincerely want to give up your prajalpa, want to give up your this anartha. So the recommended things which I have practiced, I'm telling you what is my practice. It's up to you whether to take it or not. All right. Number one, as what Nanda Mataji says, chant more than 16 rounds. 16 is not sufficient. Do more. Number two, give up social media. Give up your TikTok. Give up your Facebook. Give up your Instagram. Because there you are seeing someone's life, right? You're looking at somebody's life. People are showing off. See what I've achieved in life. See where do I go for holiday. See what am I doing in my life. All right, they are just showing off their life. So if you really sincerely want to do that, anyway, don't take my word. You write down in your journal. All right. So why this thing happened? Sometimes the racist remark, we get angry, certain remarks, like recently that certain blasphemy, like now this Ritwik is coming up with all the propaganda and saying that we are the right one with all these things, until devotees become very confused. And now there's another devotee is trying to like rebuke that, it's just like a social media war. But trust me, no one actually cares. All right. The truth of what Srila Prabhupada have created can never go wrong. We are under Guru Sishya Parambara. We cannot simply say a Guru. That means if that's true, I like to be a disciple of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur because I love his books. I love his bhajan. Bhaja Bhakata Vatsala Sri Gaura Hari. You try to read word by word. It can send you to ecstasy. If that is true, I like to prefer to be a disciple of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. All right? Because he lives it in his books. He lives it in Jaiva Dharma. He lives in his Madhurya Kadambini. All these books, he still lives in there. That's why I rather. So all these are nonsense things. So rebuke here, rebuke there and everything. Oh, then you become confused. Hey, what is really true? Come on. The reality is you have to chant Hare Krishna, that's all. So from you wasting your time thinking about that, thinking about this, give up that social media. So what I did, I deleted all my social media. That means even you can, like that day, Vivan was sending something, he said about, he said, who is Padita Tarna in AI, in artificial intelligence came. So he tried to go there and try to find what is Padita Tarna's email, Gmail, I mean, what they call Facebook, Instagram, nothing. All completely deleted, completely deleted. So only social media that I always go in, that is also just to post this, our lecture in YouTube channel. I hope I've answered you. Okay, right, let's continue. Okay, now the thing is, okay, now the next verse is from first ocean, second wave, text 8. Patmecha smartavya satatam vishnur vishvarmartavyo na jatu chit sarve vidhi nishedeshur etayor eva kinkaraha. So now, where Rupa Goswami is quoting this, is quoting from Padmecha. Padmecha means Padma Puran. All right, he's quoting from Padma Purana. So in Padma Purana also same process is advised. Same process is advised. What is Padma Purana? The discussion between Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. All right. And that one, it is said that one should always remember Lord Vishnu. Okay. He always should remember Lord Vishnu. And this remembrance is called dhyana or meditation. Always remembering Krishna. It is said that one has to meditate with his mind fixed upon Vishnu. All right, you have to meditate the mind fixed on Vishnu. So Padma Puran recommends that one always fix his mind on the form of Vishnu. Right? Must fix the mind in the form of Vishnu, and by meditation, and not forget him at any moment. Because this is what going to take your distinct. All right? Because Krishna says, at what remembrance you have, that shall be your next birth. Right? And in this state of consciousness, it is called samadhi or trance. All right. Here, the samadhi means it's not the samadhi that we know. Sometimes in local dialect or local terminology, they say, samadhi aitan. That means the place date. That's not the real samadhi. The word sama adi, sama, sameness. That means you go sama and you go deep into that. Adi mulam, deep. So that means the state of consciousness, it becomes samadhi. That means you go into trance. Trance means not like taking, like, sometimes when you see in Taipusam, people dancing with trance. Not that trance. That means you are so much deep into yourself. You are so much deep in that meditation. You try to, that's why I say the 8 kala. Remember, yesterday I explained about the 8 kala. If one day, if I got a chance, maybe I will just try, maybe I'll try to get that from Bhajana Rahasya. I'll try to get what is the 8 kala and I'll share in the group. Or maybe I would like to share to those who really wants to know this. Right? Because this is very confidential. Not to say very confidential. I don't want to send whimsically. All right, maybe I share among the people who are attending this thing, or those who are listening online. Okay, those who are listening this on the YouTube, you can send me a message. Maybe I'll just try to compose what are the eight kala, and you meditate in 8 kala. Krishna taking the cows for grazing. We will try to get some quote from Srimad Bhagavatam. What happened the past time? Study that, and you chant. Okay, when you're chanting at early in the wee hours in the morning, Krishna is having a what they call a romantic feelings. I mean, is having what they call the amorous association with Srimati Radharani. And how much they are amorous things, they're giving so much of pleasure to all the other manjaris. You meditate on that. Imagine you are a manjari and you're looking at them. They are playing the swing. They are swinging to and fro. So like that. So, okay, example. So like that. So when we do that, when you become so much deep into that, when your mind becomes so attached to that, we call that as trance. We should always try to mold the activity of our life. This is very important. We always try to mold. Mold means what? Achi. In Tamil, we call achi, right? Mold na achi. No, when you say no, achi eduthu adu mela oothuningna adu achi vandrum. So that means we have to mold our life. It doesn't matter what we have gone through in our life all this while. Where were we and what were we is immaterial. So now onwards, try to mold it with the help of Guru, with the help of Srila Prabhupada, with the help of the Shastra, and by the mercy of Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani, we start to mold. So how are we going to mold our activity? That's why I'm telling you, do your journal. Write in a scribe, take a book and try to write down what you have done today. Or you try to write down what you're going to be now. Our goal is to become a pure devotee of the Lord. Number one, in order to become a pure devotee of the Lord, okay, this is something that you can consider like this, okay? This is what I used to do. First, I want to become a pure devotee, all right? P-D, all right? Pure devotee. In order to become a pure devotee, what I need to do, I need to give up, all right? Give up anarthas, all right? Give up anarthas. So in order to give up anarthas, you start to identify what is the anarthas you have. Identify. All right. So what are the anarthas I have? Okay, now number one, I got lust. Number two, I got anger problem. And number three, I got big fat ego saying that I am this, I am that. Right. And number four, I have okay, I'm okay, ego. Then what else? What else I can think of? I'm okay, I am also a very lazy person, right? And I number four, I love to procrastinate. Okay, I put P. P means procrastination. I don't do things on time. Identify a mistake. Then after identify, then the second one, you do rectification. All right, in order to rectify, what should I do? So the rectification you study from NOD, Nectar of Devotion. All right. So before you do an NOD, you take the instruction from NOI. All right, NOI, Nectar of Instruction. Okay. So nectar of instruction. Then nectar of instruction. Then after you before that, then after that you study the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita give you conviction. Krishna says, "I will take care of you." It's a conviction. So like that, you do this kind of what they call mind map. Then you see where do you go wrong. Today, someone come and tell, "Oh, you know, I did such a great what they call, okay, example like recent activities like, okay, all right, Abhishek. Oh, I did a fantastic Abhishek. I used to do this. Of course, you do it for the Lord, you keep it to yourself. But you go and brag to others, that means you have ego. You want to show off. Right? But you said it without you realizing it. So, but when you write down, oh my God, why did I go and brag about my seva to someone? எதுக்கு நான் போய் பீத்திக்கிட்டேன்? எதுக்கு நான் போய் பெருமை பேசிக்கிட்டேன்? ஓ, நான் இதை பண்ணேன். நான் வந்து 21 ஐட்டம் போட்டு அபிஷேக் பண்ணேன். நான் வந்து ஒரு 30 ஐட்டம் சமைச்சு ஆஃபர் பண்ணி நான் பக்தருக்கு கொடுத்தேன். யூனோ, ஓ ரியலி குட், அப்படி செஞ்சீங்களா? ஓ, then I feel good. Then you start, oh my God, why did I do that? Why I want to show ego? So now, then you write in your journal, today I bragged about my service. That amount of Abhishek I did, and this is it. Because of this, I feel so good. Then I realize, actually, it is my ego. Okay, that is the first, you identifying your what you have done. Second, how the thing happened. Because a devotee called you up and start to brag, and you counter brag. அவர் வந்து பெருமை பேத்திக்கிறாரு, நீங்க வந்து கவுண்டர் பெருமை பேத்திக்கிறீங்க. ரைட்? ஓ, அப்படி செஞ்சீங்களா? நான் இப்படி செஞ்சேன் தெரியுமா? அப்படி பண்ணி நான் இப்படி பண்ணேன் தெரியுமா? அப்ப என்ன அர்த்தம்? இதுக்கு மேல when that kind of devotee calls you up, simply don't answer the phone. Simple as that. So down there you make a conclusion. So I know when this devotee calls me and talk about this, he triggers, or he or she triggers my anger, and I would like to show off my perme. Therefore, next time when the devotee calls, I'll try to not to answer the call. And next day, what happened? The same thing happened. The devotee calls you at 10 o'clock in the morning. Kring, kring, the phone rings. Right? You don't answer the call. All right? After 1 hour, just send a message. Sorry, I missed your call. Anything that you want to say, I'm busy now. All right? Or please send me a voice message. Then the person says, oh, well, actually, now I just want to ask about this thing, you know. Oh, really, yeah? Then you just send a reply message. Is it okay if I just send you a voice message? How are you going to do that? They say, okay. Just say, okay, Hare Krishna, Prabhu Mataji, நீங்க என்ன செய்யணும்னா இப்படி செஞ்சோம். Finish. Within the voice message, your thing is done. If you call, what happened? Hare Krishna, how are you? எப்படி இருக்கீங்க? நல்லா இருக்கீங்களா? சரி, எல்லாம் எப்படி போகுது? அங்க ஓடுதா? அப்புறம் அப்புறம் இருந்துச்சா? Before you go to the point, when you beat around the bush, you fall into that victim. So like that, we have to check and balance our activity on a daily basis. Are you all following me on this? Right? Okay, so that's why Prabhupada is saying, always try to mold the activity of our life. in a way that we constantly remember Vishnu or Krishna. Okay? We are all trying to be a servant of Krishna. We are not trying to be a show off. If you have a maid in your house, you don't praise your maid. Your maid do a good job, you don't say anything. But your maid do something wrong, you chastise your maid. Ini pun tak tahu kah? But the maid is a fantastic maid. We don't say, oh, maid, you're very nice. Come and sit with me, have lunch with me, have dinner with me. Oh, come, let's take you out for movie. We don't do that. Maid na maid. வேலைக்காரி வீட்டில் வேலைக்காரி இடத்துல தான் உட்கார வைக்கணும். எவ்வளவு நல்லவளா இருந்தாலும் சரி. ஈவன் த வேர்ட் நல்லவள் அவள் இவள் தான் நம்ம பேசுவோம். ஓ நம்ம மேட் ரொம்ப நல்லவங்க. மேட் வந்துட்டாங்களா? ஓ அவங்க இவங்க. We don't usually think about it. We always say what? In Tamil when you speak. வேலைக்காரி இருக்காளா? வேலைக்காரி கூப்பிடு. Maybe the வேலைக்காரி is even older than you. But வேலைக்காரினா வேலைக்காரி. Remember, we are all a maid to Krishna. You know, sometimes we say we want to be the maid servant of the Lord. Remember the word maid servant means what? We are all trying to be the maid servant of the servant of the servant of the servant of Sri Krishna. Dasa Nudas. Okay? So when we want to be a maid servant, first thing you just imagine you become a maid. You don't expect your employer to praise you. You don't expect the employer to say something good about you. You're just not bothered. You know, you just do your job. When you do a job good, you don't expect your boss to praise you. If you do something wrong, you get fired. That you expect. Yes, I will expect that. Therefore, I don't get disheartened. I just simply do my duty without any honor or defamation. I don't expect any kind of honor, any kind of praises. So like that. So when we can do that, that's why Lord Chaitanya says, as humble as a grass, as tolerant as a tree. We can simply say every morning Mangalarti, we read, one person has to be humble as a grass, as tolerant as a tree. What is that humble as a grass? When people step on the head of the grass don't tolerate, don't protest. When someone come and hit a nail on the tree simply tolerate. The tree that gives you so much of flower and everything, suddenly you just cut one of the hand off, cut one of the branches off, the tree simply tolerate. The tree doesn't protest. So as long as we can come to that level, so that is the goal of bhakti, what they call bhakti rasamrit, nectar of devotion. But sudden, if in your heart you feel, oh, that means, am I going to be a dull-headed person? Am I a person? I mean, என்ன இருக்கு இதுல? ஒரு மானக்கட்ட பொழப்பு மாதிரி தெரியுதே. அந்த மாதிரி thought இப்ப வந்துச்சுன்னா, you better write it down. Anarthas. Anarthas is coming. Better write it down. Right? With prolonged practice, everything will. So that's why we can constantly remember Vishnu or Krishna. This is Krishna consciousness. Very simple. Now you understand? So we have to fix our mind, we have to mold our life, and we should always all our activities of our life. Then we can remember Krishna consciousness. We can always constantly remember Vishnu or Krishna, and this is called Krishna consciousness. So whether one can concentrate his mind or the four-handed Vishnu or in the form of two-handed Krishna, it is the same. Right? Like some people, if you think you're attached to Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayana in four-handed form, or if you think you are attracted to him in the two-handed form of Krishna, it is the same. Prabhupada said this. So the Padma Puran recommends that somehow or other means what? எப்படி இருந்தாலும் சரி. But that means in English we also can say, or extreme part we can say by hook or crook. Somehow or other, always think of Vishnu. And without forgetting him under any circumstances. In any circumstances, never forget Vishnu. So now we have already know the secret is to chant 64 rounds. Try it. If you can't try it, it's okay. But make your 16 minimum a must, a mandatory must. You can never compromise your 16. All right? Do it for 40 days at least. It become a habit. Then after that, you try to increase to 32 and do it for another 40 days. No matter what, by hook or crook, 32 rounds. So I'm not surprised within that 120 days or roughly around 6 months. Yeah, around 120. Yeah, around 4 months. Okay. Most probably you can come to the level of chanting 64 rounds. So once you come to that level, is it? But for those who have not tried, you may think, oh, it's going to be very hard. So yesterday Nanda Mataji was telling, no, it's actually very simple. Actually, it is very easy. All right. If you become very expert in chanting, your 64 rounds will take around 3.5 hours. That's all. 3.5 to 4 hours. Because I've asked many devotees. I say, how long do you take? Right, it takes around 4 hours. And that is so concentrating chanting, not simply chanting. Because once you start to chant more than that, your mind once become very absorbed. Because your mind want to go there, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, want to go there, until the mind give up, ayo, cherida, Hare Krishna, ukandurume. Then your mind will become concentrated. First 16 rounds is your challenge. It's like a clearing stage. But we do 16, we stop. After 16, only the real taste starts. And then the mind will protest. Then the third 16, the final 16, I'm telling you, the final 16 rounds in 64, the final 16, that is the time that you feel very ecstatic. After that, you drop after that, you stop. Your tongue will never stop. Your mind will never stop. It will just go on. You will just go on and on and on and on. You can't stop it. I think there was one Mataji. I don't know whether it's Nanda Mataji or someone who just shared the thing. I think Sadguna Mataji, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure who. I can't recall the name. They say that until night cannot sleep. You go to bed, you close your eyes, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yo, come on, stop, Krishna. I want to sleep. No, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yo, no. Is there any one of you said that to me before? Who have had a sleepless night because while you're trying to sleep, your mind is gone chanting Hare Krishna? Is it any one of you from here?
Yes, Prabhu, I've experienced that.
Oh, you are the one. Did you mention that to me? Are you the one who said that?
Yes, I did mention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then after that, you try to not to chant before you go to sleep or something like that, right? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, you are the one. Can you imagine? Until you don't feel like chanting Hare Krishna because you cannot sleep at night. Why? When you close your eyes, you're not thinking about anything else. You're not thinking about the financial difficulties. You're not thinking about the challenges, your bodily challenges. Usually that time, you're not thinking about the children. And I am You're not thinking about all that. She cannot sleep because the mind is chanting Hare Krishna. That is amazing, I'm telling you. Right? Of course, there's a disease, but try it. It's amazing. All right. Anyway, so without forgetting, actually, this is the most basic of all regulative principle, Prabhupada says. Nanda Mataji, this is the most basic. If this is basic, what is beyond this basic? Oh boy, it is unbelievable. When we talk about sadhana, under sadhana Vaidi, and after we have not even touched Raganuga. We have not touched Bhava. Bhava is divided into few. How many Bhava was divided to? Did you all underline the statement yesterday? Vaidi sadhana is divided into 2. Yes or not? Do you remember? Remember or not? Devotees.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, can you tell me? Bhava is divided, sadhana divided into?
I think fall, Prabhu.
Is it? No.
Cook பண்ணிட்டு இல்ல.
No. The general this thing is, under the sadhana bhakti, it is divided into 2. Can you see this statement here? Okay, let me just remove all these things. Okay, see the screen? Right? So, the category, 3 categories devotional service is described Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, so we described Rasamrita Sindhu. And one is practice, ecstasy, and pure. Okay? And there are many subheading. Generally, they understood that category devotional service, there's a practice where different qualities. Devotional service and ecstasy. All right. Okay. Okay, practice got how many? Can you see this? 2.
2.
What is that 2? We just said
Vaidhi
practice.
Bhakti and Raganuga Bhakti.
Yes, Vaidhi and Raganuga, because practice means sadhana bhakti. Vaidhi, okay. Then after that, in ecstasy, in bhava, got how many? 4. Okay.
Oh.
Bhava got 4. These 2 itself, then we talk about what only feel like one kind. But Baba got 4. And under that got many sub. Then after that, pure love is got how many? Got 6. All right. So all this will be explained by Rupa Goswami later on. That's why I'm telling you, by the time we complete this book, by the mercy of Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that all of you will become a pure devotee of the Lord. That's why we are doing that detailed studies. All right. So this is the most basic we are talking about. We are talking about Vaidhi. In Vaidhi itself, like people can go into sleepless night. The tongue will start dancing. Your mind will start reeling. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Don't want to talk to anyone. Just feel like you can think about going to like samadhi level. All right. For when there is an order from the superior about doing something, there is simultaneously a prohibition. All right. So when the order is that one should remember Krishna. So that means when there's an order, it says always remember Krishna. Okay. And there's a prohibition. That means don't. That means one should never forget him. So the spiritual master gives us order. Always remember Krishna. Then after they give you a prohibition. Never forget Krishna. Right? So with this simple order and prohibition, all regulative principles are found complete. So we need to follow the regulative principle, and this is the complete method. All right. So now we have already done. So it's already 11 o'clock. So we're going to continue on Monday. All right. Let's mark your book. This regulative principle. This regulative principle. All right. It is in the page 24. Page 24. All right. The first paragraph. Okay. Please mark your book so that we won't forget. These regulative principle. Okay. Are applicable in all varnas and ashrama. Okay. This is going to be another more important and instructing studies. Right. Okay. So we have already done part 2 of chapter 1. So next week will be chapter part. We can finish it off. Okay. So we open for questions. Any questions? Any comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Recently, I want to share my realization with recent Bhakti Brahad Bhagavatam recently visit Johor Bahru. Can I speak in Tamil, Prabhu? I'm
Definitely.
better with Tamil.
Can.
மகாராஜ் வந்தப்ப கொஸ்டின் செஷன் வச்சப்ப ஒரு பக்தர் கேள்வி கேட்டாங்க, ஹவு கேன் ஐ நோ தட் ஐம் ப்ரோக்ரெசிங் இன் ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் லைஃப்னு சொல்லி கேட்டாங்க. அப்ப கேக்குறப்ப மகாராஜ் சொன்ன பதில் பிரபு, நம்ம என்னைக்கு வந்து நம்ம சுத்தி இருக்கிறவங்களை வந்து பாக்குறப்ப அவங்க கிட்ட இருக்கிற குட் குவாலிட்டிஸ் மட்டும்தான் கண்ணுக்கு தெரியுதோ அப்ப நம்ம ப்ரோக்ரஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறோம்ட்டு அதான் அறிகுறின்னு சொன்னாரு. அப்ப நான் வீட்டுக்கு வந்துட்டு பிற்பாடு நான் யோசிச்சேன், என்னை சுத்தி இருக்கிறவங்கள நான் யோசிச்சு பார்த்தேன். எனக்கு பாக்குறப்ப அவங்க கிட்ட இருக்கிற அந்த நெகட்டிவ் தான் எனக்கு வந்து தெரிஞ்சிச்சு, எனக்கு பாசிட்டிவ் தெரியல ரொம்ப. So
Okay.
and then the next day I go back to Maharaj and then ask, how can I cultivate myself to see good in other devotees, other people? எப்படி நான் அதை கல்டிவேட் பண்ணிக்கிறது? ஏன்னா இப்ப நான் பாக்குறேன், எனக்கு பாக்குறப்ப அவங்க எனக்கு என்ன செஞ்சாங்க, தப்பு செஞ்சாங்க, எனக்கு அதுதான் தெரியுது மகாராஜ். So Maharaj said, first thing, you finish your rounds in the morning. The Mangalarti time you finish your rounds ன்னு சொன்னாரு. Second thing, you don't criticize them. கிரிட்டிசைஸ் பண்ணாதுன்னு சொன்னாரு. மூணாவது வந்து என்ன சொன்னாருனாக்கா, யார்கிட்டயும் ரொம்ப க்ளோஸ் ஆகாதுன்னு சொன்னாரு. நம்ம க்ளோஸ் ஆகுறப்ப தான் நம்ம வந்து அவங்கள பத்தி நிறைய தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு அவங்களோட குணம்லாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு நம்ம பிரிஜல்பா பண்ண ஆரம்பிப்போம். ஸோ க்ளோஸ் ஆகாதுன்னு சொன்னாரு. ஸோ அதனால இந்த மாதிரி செஞ்சோம்னாக்கா நம்ம அனார்த்தாலேருந்து தவிக்கலாம்னு சொன்னாரு பிரபு மகாராஜ். ஜஸ்ட் வாண்ட் டு ஷேர். ஹரே கிருஷ்ணா.
Yeah, true. Because நம்ம வந்து க்ளோஸா ஆகுறது, க்ளோஸா பழகுறது எப்பன்னா அப்ப என்ன அர்த்தம்னா நமக்கு வந்து we are so free. நம்ம ரொம்ப ஃப்ரீயா இருக்கோம்னு அர்த்தம். லைக் சம்டைம்ஸ் டெம்பிள் கூட பாக்குறோம் தானே, வந்தோடனே they start to talk. சாப்பிடும் போது எஸ்பெஷலி when you take பிரசாதம், when you take பிரசாதம் பிரசாதம் சாப்பிடும்போது நாம ஒரு பிளே நீங்க ஒரு பிளே உட்காந்துட்டு கதை பேசுறது. இது பிகாஸ் they are sick. No, பிரசாதம் have to be relished. எவ்ரி morsel, எவ்ரி ஒரு ஒரு அரிசி, ஒரு 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 தானியம் கூட அது வந்து நம்மள வந்து இந்த சம்சார கடல்ல இருந்து காப்பாத்த போகும். ரைட்? ஸோ எப்படின்னா என்ன செய்யணும்? பிரசாதம் சாப்பிடும்போது மெடிடேட் இன் திஸ் சாங். சரிரா அபிதிரால் தொரின்றாய தாய்க்கால். அந்த அந்த அதோட அர்த்தத்தை வந்து நம்ம ரொம்ப டீப்பா அதை வந்து அதை புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டே நம்ம சாப்பிடணும். இட்ஸ் ஓ மைண்ட், யோர் டங் இஸ் சோ விக்கட். இந்த நாவால நம்ம கட்டோம். இந்த நாவால தான் நம்ம உலகத்துல வந்து பிறவி மேல பிறவி எடுத்துக்கிட்டு இருக்கோம். நாக்கு ருசிக்காக நாவால கட்டுறோம். அப்ப இந்த 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 விக்கட் நாக்கு, தமிழ்ல என்ன சொல்றது? விக்கட் விக்கட்னா ஒரு ராட்சச நாக்கு. இதை அடக்கிறதுக்கு என்ன வழி? கிருஷ்ணரே, உங்க பிரசாதம், உங்களோட உங்களோட அனுகிரகத்தை இந்த உணவு மூலியமா நீங்க கொடுக்குறீங்க. யூ ஆர் கிவிங் உங்களோட எச்சி, ரைட்? ரெம்னன்ஸ். அப்படிதான் எச்சி தானே சொல்லுவாங்க. தமிழ் என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க? ரெம்னன்ஸ். நீங்க சாப்பிட்டுட்டு உங்களோட சொல்லுங்க மத்தஜி, சக்கி.
அப்படிதான் சொல்லுவாங்கன்னு நினைக்கிறேன் பிரபு.
ரைட், சரி, அப்படியே வச்சுக்கோமே. ஸோ நீங்க சாப்பிட்ட அந்த எச்சை என்கிட்ட கொடுக்குறீங்க, சரியா? அதை நான் கொடுக்க சாப்பிட்றேன். ஏன்னா என் நாக்கு அடக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு வழி இல்லை. அப்ப உங்களோட பிரசாதம் நீங்க சாப்பிட்டு கொடுத்து, நீங்க சாப்பிட்டு வச்சதை நான் எடுத்து சாப்பிட்றேன். நீங்க மட்டும் சாப்பிடல. ரைட்? இது குரு மூலியமா கொடுத்து உங்களுக்கு வந்து கிடைச்சி ஸ்ரீமதி ராதாராணி உங்ககிட்ட கொடுத்து நீங்க அதை சாப்பிட்டு ஸ்ரீமதி ராதாராணி அதுல கொஞ்சம் எடுத்து சாப்பிட்டு நல்லா தான் செஞ்சிருக்கு சக்கி. வெரி குட், வெரி குட். அப்புறம் அப்புறம் அவங்க என்ன செய்றாங்க? அப்புறம் கம் டவுன் டு பரம்பரா பேக். பிரம்மா சாப்பிட்டு, நாரதர் சாப்பிட்டு, அப்படியே வந்து யாரு மதுவாச்சாரியா, அப்படியே கம் டு லார்ட் சைத்தன்யா, ஆல் த ஆச்சாரியாஸ், ஓகே, நரோத்தம் தாஸ் தாக்கூர், அப்படியே கீழே வந்து தென் ஜெகநாத் தாஸ் பாபாஜி, அது கீழே வந்து பக்தி வினோத் தாக்கூர், அவங்க கீழே கௌரவ் கிஷோர் தாஸ் பாபாஜி, அவங்க கீழே என்ன பக்தி சித்தாந்த சரஸ்வதி பிரபுபாட், அது கீழே நம்ம அபாய் சரண் அரவிந்த பக்தி வேதாந்த சுவாமி பிரபுபாட், அதுக்கப்புறம் நம்ம குரு மகாராஜ். இவ்வளோ பேர் அந்த கிருஷ்ணா சாப்பிட்டு இவ்வளோ பேர் அதுல ருசி கண்டு ருசி கண்டு ருசி கண்டு இங்க எனக்கு வந்து சேர்றது வந்து சாதாரண சாப்பாடு இல்ல, மகா பிரசாதம். மகா பிரசாதம். அப்ப என் நாக்கு அடக்கிறதுக்கு இந்த பிரசாதம் கொடுத்துருக்கீங்களே, நான் எவ்வளவு பாக்கியசாலி. அந்த சிந்தனையில ஒண்ணுன்னா கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமா எடுத்து வாயில வச்சு மெடிடேஷனோட சாப்பிடணும். சாப்பிட்டுக்கிட்டு பிள்ளைங்க படிச்சிருச்சா? எந்த டியூஷன் நீங்க போடுறீங்க? அந்த டியூஷனா? வெரி குட்லா. ஓகே. அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கவே கூடாது. அதனாலதான் பிரசாதம் சாப்பிடும்போது அப்படியே ஒதுங்கி சைட்ல போயிடணும். ஸோ இட் ஸ்டார்ட் ஃப்ரம் தேர். ஓகே. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி மெடிடேஷன். ஸோ எவ்ரிதிங் மெடிடேட்ல வந்து மெடிடேட் பண்ணும்போது நம்ம சாப்பிட்றது சரி, செய்யறது சரி, எல்லாம் வந்து இது. ஸோ பி 100%. சாப்பிடும்போது ஈட் 100%. ரைட்? இந்த கம் லெட்ஸ் ஃபார் மேக் ஃபார் டின்னர், வாங்க வீட்டுக்கு வாங்க சாப்பிடலாம். அப்போ அவங்க சாப்பாடு செய்யும்போது நோ. அந்த இடத்துல சாப்பிடும்போது ஜஸ்ட் திங்க் அபவுட் when you offering the food. Did you try that? பஜ்ஜ பாக்கத்த வட்சல ஸ்ரீ கௌரஹரி. நீங்க ஆஃபர் பண்ணும்போது அந்த பாட்டை பாடி பாருங்களேன். பிரசாதம் வேற மாதிரி இருக்கும். You know?
I want to try பிரபு.
Yes, try. Every time you offer, you just sing that song. பஜ பக்கத்த வட்சல ஸ்ரீ கௌரஹரி. சும்மா பாடுறதுன்னு பாடிடாதீங்க. அர்த்தத்தை புரிஞ்சுங்க. ரைட்? அதுக்கப்புறம் பிரசாதம் சாப்பிடும்போது எடுத்துட்டு ஒரு ஒரு சைட்ல போய் ஒதுங்கிருங்க. Alright? Make a point that you're not interested to talk to anyone. When people come and talk to you, you just say, let me eat first. ஏன்னா எனக்கு சாப்பிட்டா புறை ஏறிடும். நான் பேசிட்டு சாப்பிட்டேன்னா புறை ஏறிடும். அப்புறம் சாப்பிடுவோம். ஒரு மூலையில உட்காந்து just eat. Because I used to make the same mistake. அன்னோட நினைப்பை தான் செய்யணும்னு அந்த நேரத்துல மறந்துடுறது. ஒரு டியூட்டி அங்க போய் சாப்பிட்டுக்கிட்டே உட்காந்துட்டு வெட்டி கதை கண்ட கண்ட கதையை பேசிட்டு என்ன சாப்பிட்டுன்னு கூட ஞாபகம் இருக்காது. யூனோ கம் பேக் ஹோம் மை மதர் ஆஸ்க்ஸ், ஸோ என்ன என்ன பிரசாத் என்ன செஞ்சாங்க, என்ன செஞ்சாங்க, என்ன சாப்பிட்டீங்கன்னு. ஆமா என்ன சாப்பிட்டேன், ஏதோ சாப்பிட்டேன். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கக்கூடாது. ரைட்? ஸோ ஆல்வேஸ் மெடிடேட் ஆன் த மீனிங். மெடிடேட் ஆன் த மீனிங். அதோட அர்த்தங்கள், அதோட மீனிங். ஸ்டடி த மீனிங். ஸோ அதை வச்சு ஸோ வி ஹேவ் டு. ஸோ அப்பெல்லாம் நம்ம இருக்க 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 அந்த மாதிரி. ஓகே, நம்ம சமைக்கும் போது மேக் ஷூர் யூ வேர் யோர் மாஸ்க். ரைட்? டோன்ட் குக் வித்வுட் த மாஸ்க். ஸோ மாஸ்க்கை போட்டிங்கன்னா ஸோ யூ யூ ஹவ் நோ டைம் டு டாக். ரைட்? சமயக்கட்டில் பேசவே கூடாது. வி ஷுட் மெடிடேட். ஓகே, ராதாராணி எப்படி வெட்டினா, ஐ மீன் ராதாராணிக்கு வந்து நம்ம இந்த இந்த கேரட் எப்படி வெட்டினா பிடிக்கும். யூனோ ட்ரை டு மேக் சம், யூனோ லைக் ஐவ் சீன் லைக் இன் வெஸ்டர்ன் டிவோட்டிஸ். அவங்களாம் வந்து சும்மா ஒரு சாதாரண கேரட்டை ஒரு ஒரு சாம்பார் வைக்கிறது ஏதாச்சும் செய்யும் போது சும்மா அப்படி வெட்ட மாட்டாங்க. அது நடுவில் இன்னும் வெட்டி 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 அதை ஸ்டார் மாதிரி வெட்டுவாங்க. நான் நினைச்சேன் இதெல்லாம் சாப்பிட்டு வயிற்றுக்குள்ளுக்கு தான் போகுது, இது இப்படி வெட்டினாதான் என்னன்னு. நோ, தட்ஸ் அ ப்ரெசன்டேஷன், ரைட்? ப்ரெசென்டிங் யுவர் லவ். ஸோ அவன் என்ன செய்வாங்க, அந்த கேரட் எடுத்து நடுவில் அப்படியே 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 ஸ்டார் மாதிரி வெட்டி இதுக்கா அழகா ஸ்டார் மாதிரி வரும். அதை எடுத்து அவங்க போடும் போது, சமைக்கும் போது, லைக் சீனை சமைக்கும் போது போடும் போதுலாம் வந்துட்டு அவ்வளோ பயபக்தியா போடுவாங்க. சும்மா அப்படியே பிஷ், பிஷ், செங், 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 அந்த மாதிரிலாம் இல்லை. ஈவன் கிண்டுறது கூட ஜும், ஜும், ஜும்னு, ரைட்? So everything is a meditation in devotional service. Okay? So slowly. So that's what my daughter is also doing. So when she cook அது கிண்டும் போதே வந்து அது ஒரு ரிதமா செய்யும். She cook, zoom, zoom, zoom அந்த மாதிரி. So everything is a meditation in devotional service. ஸோ அப்படி நம்ம சின்ன சின்ன விஷயத்தை நம்ம மாற்ற ஆரம்பிச்சோம்னா நம்மளோட பெரிய விஷயம் ஈஸியா மாறிடும். ஓகே, ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி. ஸோ அதான் சொல்ற மாதிரி யூ சாண்ட் யூர் 64 ரவுண்ட்ஸ் நீங்க செய்யுங்க. இங்க யார்ட்டையும் பேசுறதுக்கு டைம் இருக்காது, யாரு கதையும் கேட்க உங்களுக்கு டைமும் இருக்காது. யூ வில் பி ஜஸ்ட் லுக்கிங் ஃபார்வர்ட் டு த நெக்ஸ்ட் மூமெண்ட் ஆஃப் டிவோஷனல் சர்வீஸ். ஓகே, ஸோ எனிஒன் எல்ஸ் வாண்ட் டு சே சம்திங்? சுவர்ண காந்தி, வேர் ஆர் யூ ஃப்ரம்?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm from Johor Bahru, ISKCON Skudai.
Skudai.
Yes,
So
Prabhu.
you are actually Saki's sister's daughter.
Yes, Prabhu. ஆமா.
நான் உங்களை பார்த்திருக்கேனா, உங்க அம்மா பார்த்திருக்கேனா? வாட்ஸ் யுவர் மதர்ஸ் நேம்?
பார்த்திருக்கீங்க பிரபு. My mother name வந்து மோகனா மோகினி தேவிதாசி.
ஓ, அவங்க டாட்டர்.
ஆமா பிரபு.
Right, right. I think you came to Ipoh, right? Your cousin's funeral.
Yes, ஆமா பிரபு.
Okay, okay. Because I don't remember seeing you. I saw your mother. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Right, 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 right. Sure. How old are you now?
I'm 24 பிரபு this year.
அவ்வளவு பெரிய பிள்ளைங்க.
ஆமா பிரபு.
Okay. அப்ப சக்கியோட children you got a very young cousins lah.
Yes பிரபு.
சரி. All right, very nice. So, okay, another thing is next week Monday, Wednesday, Friday. சரியா? Because இது ஒரு நாள் Monday, Friday முடியாது. Because அதோட போ இன்னும் இன்டென்ஸா இருக்கும். சரியா? So, ஆனா வந்து Monday most likely I need to send my car for service. Because Saturday, Sunday full. Oh, tomorrow Saturday, huh? All right, anyway, I'll see if I can send my car on tomorrow. Means we'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. If not, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. சரியா? All right. So anyway, thank you so much for your time. உங்க கூட சேர்ந்து இதெல்லாம் நான் படிச்சதுக்கு எனக்கும் ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம், ரொம்ப திருப்தியா இருக்கு. I feel so happy now talking and discussing with all of you. We'll meet again on next week. Pancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sindhubhyevacha paditaram pavinibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. Have a beautiful weekend and blissful weekend. Go Ranga.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.